Hey there, TREADLYFE. This is Charlie. We're going to talk to a brand new racer. His name is Kyle Lowe, and he's going to tell us a lot about his experience, about what it's like to do this as a beginner. A lot of this video series will be focused around helping people find out how realistic it is to get into Formula racing.
You're unbelievable. You're so unbelievable.
It's time to go see what's here. Today is the opener for the summer series as a developing Formula 4 league on the West Coast, featuring circuits like Laguna Seca, Sonoma Raceway, and where we are today, ThunderHill, a track that can't decide if it's 5 miles or 2, or is it 3. Home of the nation's largest endurance race where LMP cars alongside Miatas battle it out for the 25-hour endeavor. The league, in cooperation with the SCCA, shares sessions, which explains the wide assortment of different race cars. The next rounds 3 and 4 are hosted at Buttonwillow at the end of April, fighting for top spots to race in front of a nationally televised IndyCar crowd. League visionary Brett Morgan of Exclusive Motorworks fashioned an FIA governing rules to fit a league tailored for beginners. Entry costs in the sport come at a fraction of what it costs in the past, making it a reality to dream about Formula racing. The league centers around the Ligier JS F4 chassis, powered by a leased K20 C1 2-liter Honda engine derived by HPD from the Civic Type R, tweaked to put out about 160 horsepower. It's also equipped with a sequential gearbox and only the racing essentials to stay lightweight. The price of the car is $45,000, and the running costs of the single-make formula are strictly cost-capped. We'll talk about how you keep them running in a moment, but first, let me introduce you to someone awesome. Hey there, TREADLYFE. We're out here at ThunderHill Raceway in Northern California, and we're hanging out with Kyle Lowe, who is a really awesome karting and Formula race car driver now. So we'd like to get to know Kyle a little bit better.
So I come from a city called San Jose. I started go-karting outdoors 3 years ago at Sonoma Raceway. I pitted with a team called Cameron Karting, and they've just coached me and nurtured me, and now I'm here.
So only 3 years time. I mean, that's a really short period. Would you say that that's normal for most people?
It's actually a really rapid pace of growth. It's very common for kids who've been karting for 10 or more years, pretty much their whole life ever since they were a little kid, to finally move up to race cars for a shot at getting up to this sort of level.
What made you want to get into karting?
So, I actually just grew up loving cars. I would play with Hot Wheel cars, and a funny story, my dad never told me the names of any of the cars, but every time we're just driving on the street, I'm just sitting there in the little booster seat, 4 years old, and I just went, hey, that's a Mustang. Hey, that's a Toyota. And I'll bet Dad was just sitting at the front going, yes.
Did this become a reality? You're kind of telling us how you met Brett and you saw his car and you didn't realize that was really within your reach. But what was the experience like, kind of going, is this really a reality?
So Brett and I met at the club series at Sonoma that I was talking about earlier, Sanzaro Games Karting Championship. He had his car on display in the paddock for a lot of the aspiring race car drivers to just drool at, and I was one of those guys. And And Brent's a really nice guy to talk to. He's a great person to work with. He's got some really great equipment to offer. Yeah, when we were just checking out his car in the paddock, I was thinking, that is so cool. But how long is it going to take for me to move up from go-karts to racing cars? And sure enough, it only took 6 months.
That's amazing. That's truly amazing.
We use these go-karts and these F4 cars to build up our foundation to develop ourselves as potential professional race car drivers.
Heard and read a bunch of articles that say that go-karts are the closest approximation that you can get to open-wheel cars. And is that what you intended when you got into go-karts, was to get here?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going for. Just driving the go-kart is so much fun, and it's really where you develop these skills, not both driving skills, but it's also like the skill, like all the fast reaction times and just knowing what and what not to do when you're out there. And I think it just helps form you as a driver. A mechanic once told me that with a lot of young drivers like myself, something in their mind just one day clicks, and suddenly they just know what they want to do. They know how to drive into this corner and they just get a fast lap down. Not only that, they just gain a ton of confidence.
So it's like raw talent.
Maybe.
It's something like that. I want to say it's something like that.
It's like
You see a lot of guys in karting talk about that Kliq, and it's really a magical moment. In my opinion, I don't think I went through it yet.
you're still not really sure all this is happening. Still feels a little bit like a dream.
I kind of just got lucky.
This is how they keep it all in motion. It takes a team, and that team is World Speed. Its alumni are IndyCar, NASCAR, IMSA, World Challenge, and many other series around the world. The organization has supported drivers in races such as Formula Mazda, Champ Car Atlantic, F2000, Pro Formula Mazda, and Porsche GT3 Cup. World Speed Motorsports has earned a reputation as the go-to company for drivers that demand real solutions and results. The team is capable of providing every type of service a race car driver could need, including the cupcakes. No, really, they've thought of everything a driver needs so that they can just focus on the driving. Between sessions, techs and engineers look at logs, review video with the drivers while cars are tuned to their maximum potential. The age ranges of competitors varies among the team, and the sense of community is felt under these tent awnings. They may be going head-to-head on the track, but it's all about improvement in the back. Shoutouts to one of Kyle's teammates, Bryce and Lou, that we also saw tearing it up on the track this weekend. Great job, you guys. Let's go watch them get ready.
Got 2 going over the belt, 2 between the legs, and 2 over the shoulders. So I guess that's 6 total. You just got to be super strapped in there. It has to be really tight because there's so much G-force that you go through in the car. If it's too loose, then you're just all over the place. You're not safe.
Some pretty serious weather in ThunderHill. What's it like to race in rain like this?
So it's actually not so different from karting as I thought it would be. It's just the same kind of logic you gotta bring. Just stay off the rubber. Make sure you find the right places where there's grip. Spinning is a lot easier too, but you build the foundation again from go-karting and you bring it to race cars. This is actually my very first time driving a race car in wet conditions. I've driven a go-kart in wet conditions before, but this is still a whole new learning experience for me because I don't know where the car is going to go yet. That's the goal for today, to just get myself comfortable with how the car handles in wet conditions. Yeah, just being out there looking for grip. I'm looking for little patches on the road that are dry or drier. Like every patch is wet, but just looking for where I could find the most traction on the tires, because that's really important in the race as well. Because if someone misses that patch but you get it spot on, that's your opportunity to pass them. You probably won't be seeing much dive bomb passes or late braking. It's all going to be just carrying the right amount of momentum out of the corner.
And just trying to hold really good position.
Yeah, and there's a level of respect that we have to have for our competitors as well. I mean, we're both going over 100 miles an hour on a racetrack, and it's raining, and it's a very dangerous sport. We all have to acknowledge that motorsports is dangerous, and there's always a chance that we could get in an accident.
Stay safe out there as well.
Thank you.
It's difficult of what you're putting yourself in the way
Yeah.
of,
So the race car I drive is a Formula 4. They call it the Ligier chassis. But typically about the car is it's very easy to drive. It's ideally the first level from go-karts that you move up to. There's going to be a race in Laguna Seca, which is where I met Charlie for the first time at the NCK race. But there's going to be a race at Laguna Seca in the F4 this year. And growing up as a kid, Laguna Seca was my dream track. I've always driven that track on Gran Turismo when I was growing up, and I've always watched YouTube videos thinking one day I want to drive on that racetrack myself. And it's a dream come true just to like step into the facility as a driver. So this year what I have planned on my schedule is Supercars USA, Pro Kart California. I'll be competing in the S3 category with Alumnos. Alumnos is a national level karting team. And for that championship, I'm actually in the fight for the title. Some other stuff I'll be doing is of course the Formula 4, the Formula Pro USA West Coast Series in the F4. This is the first round actually here at ThunderHill.
As the sun's about to go down here at ThunderHill Raceway, we want to thank you for watching, and we hope you continue watching our series, so hit that subscribe button. It's hard to express in words what this weekend means to me. When you see what it's like from the inside of Formula 4 racing, you all of a sudden get these ideas about getting behind the controls. The sounds of them raging all around you as they crest the hills of the track, you're no longer satisfied with watching anymore. The reality of racing is in front of you.